Hello, it's Cisvolk. Time to enjoy card making with me. Today I show you how to make a shaker card with tiny hearts and envelopes. They are adorable, aren't they? The size of my envelope is 14 by 14 centimeters or 5.5 inches. I make my card 5¼ inches tall, about 13.3 centimeters. When creasing a card, always crease on the right side of the paper and fold the card over on the side where the seam is on the outside. This is how you make the most beautiful fold. I have a small scoring board. The measurements are in inches. Sometimes I use inches and sometimes centimeters, whichever works best. Finally, I cut my card to size. That way he is always perfect. I stamped a few figures, heat embossed them with transparent embossing powder from Alinacraftstore and colored them with alcohol markers. Here I show a small shaker I made, but I wasn't happy with the rim. I thought it was too thin, so I made a new shaker for this card. I die cutted a circle out of a separate panel. Between this panel and the card base, the shaker part will come. The text will be all over the top of the card as a background. For this technique you need a stamping platform containing a white sheet of paper with guidelines. These small squares are very useful for aligning the stamp and later to be able to move the card parallel and keep it straight. I'll show you that in a minute. At the moment I'm looking for a suitable place to stick the stamp. It should be a place where the stamp can reach the paper everywhere, without having to take the stamp out of the stamping tool every time. Now that I've cleaned the stamp on the lid, I can see from the lines whether I've aligned the text straight. I test if my card panel fits in between all the places I need to go. I use Memento Tuxedo black dye ink. I make the first print on the checkered paper. Once I've stamped on the card panel, I then move the panel 1 square up and 2 squares to the left. I continue in this way until everything is filled. Now I will speed up the video a bit. You can see that sometimes I make a mistake, but that's okay. Mistakes can easily be hidden behind something else glued on top of it. I alternate the starting spot of the imprint every now and then to make it a little more playful. So you don't always have to go 2 blocks to the right, as long as you keep in mind the 1-line spacing. While making the card, I found out that I should have started stamping on the left side, so that the text would continue, and there would not be a blank piece of paper in the middle. No problem. I will show you how to fill in the blanks with the same text. And it doesn't matter that the text doesn't run all the way through. Who is going to read it all in detail anyway? I take a piece of plastic acetate, especially suitable for printers, on which I printed the same checkered lines. If you don't have a printer, you could also draw thin lines on a piece of plastic using a permanent marker. I put this checkered piece of acetate in the stamping platform and stamp on it. I put the card underneath. When I found the right spot, I remove the acetate, and before I stamp, I check whether the card is aligned on the squared paper underneath. I can continue to move the card 1 square up and 2 to the left, in this case 1 square down and 2 to the left, and see if I'm stamping in the right place by using the piece of plastic again. My text is too long for this part. I solve this by cleaning the stamp and covering the part of the text that I don't need with purple tape. Don't forget to remove the tape before stamping, otherwise your work will be stained. Here you see me repeating the process again. Sorry, I'm a little out of the picture. The front panel is finished. I'm going to use foam to raise the entire front panel of the card. Now I grab my circle dies. You probably have them too, or else use a different shape die. A heart shape or square would also be nice to use. Here I draw the foam to size. I choose to cut the foam slightly smaller than the panel that goes on the card. I roughly draw the place where the circle has to be die cutted. The circle die I use for the foam is one size larger than the circle die for the card. When die cutting foam, make sure that you only run it through your die cutting machine once. Foam is stretchable, and if you punch back and forth, it will get out of shape. I usually reuse plastic from packaging. This one is from a box of lasagna sheets. This plastic is thin but sturdy enough. I cut it a little smaller, but still big enough that it covers the surface of the circle and has room to put tape around it. I really like to use tape from Alinacraftstore. She sells them in different sizes. This tape is super strong and very easy to use. I grab a bone folder to press it down firmly. Now I need double-sided tape again for both sides of the foam. Make sure that the double-sided tape is taped around the circle. Otherwise the shaker bits will end up under the foam and the shaker card won't shake that well. Here I cut the stamped panel and a piece of silver paper to size. I liked it better with some silver colored paper visible around the edges. I cut the silver paper slightly smaller than the card base. Then I also cut the stamp panel a little smaller, just a few millimeters. The panel is easy to trim with the foam in between, but if I had known beforehand, I might have used the right size right away. Because the silver paper is thick and makes the card unnecessarily heavy, and also because I'm just frugal, I cut the center out of the silver paper. The red shiny paper fits in the opening and is visible behind the shaker. Since the shaker material of a shaker card always falls down when you have the card in upright position, I like it if there is something in the background that remains visible. I stamped these two envelopes and shaded them with a very light grey. I cut them out and stick them on the background of the shaker. Here I show you how I stamped my images. You can make the paper anti-static very well with some baby powder, baby chalk, to prevent the embossing powder to stick on places you don't want it to be. I made my own embossing pouch from a pantyhose. I stamp with Memento Luxe. Make sure you don't press too hard on silicone stamps, so the image will keep its shape. I embossed the print with Alinacraft's clear embossing powder. An anti-static piece of paper ensures that I can easily put all the remaining powder back into the jar. I quickly melt it with my heat gun. For the envelope of the card, I stamped 3 envelopes with black Memento dye ink in the corner. I used the masking technique for that. I color it in with pencil. I use a water brush which is filled with baby oil. I use this brush to smear the oil on my stamper. With this stamper you can easily smear and feather the colored pencil parts so that the result looks even better. I use a white gel pen for extra shading effect. Place the shaker parts in the background. Make sure the shaker parts don't overlap, because they have the same width as the foam. Next, stick the panel on it. Oops, I cut the red paper a little too small and now the tape is just outside the edge. But no problem, it can still be fixed luckily. If you want to stick a panel to a card, only peel off the corners of the tape. This way you can always slide a bit and find where to stick to get it straight. Now it's time to decorate the card with images and cover up any stamping imperfections. I use an acrylic block to press my image down firmly. To give the extra stamped envelope some dimension, I use a grey alcohol marker to give it some shadow. I stamped on special trenso-type paper, suitable for alcohol markers. Blending is so much easier with this smooth paper. The cute little envelopes from the Shakercard fit exactly in the mailbox. The elements are soft and bendable. I stick some of them on the card with regular glue. It turned into a long video. I hope I was able to inspire you and give you a lot of tips. Tag me on Instagram or Facebook, Cisvolk, to show me what you made. I learned a little more about making YouTube videos. Next time my camera will be higher and hopefully I won't be out of the picture all the time. Apologies for this. The next video is about making storage folders for stamps and dies. Please subscribe to my channel Cisvolk and hit the bell button. Then you don't miss any of my tips. In the subscriptions below you will find all links to the products of Alinacrafts. The links are affiliate links. When you use my links I get a little commission on this. It costs you nothing extra and helps me to spend more time making even more YouTube videos. Thank you to enjoy card making with me. I'll see you next time.